On va continuer à parler de mobilité et c'est notre premier Challenge Lab de la journée. Challenge Lab, c'est quoi? En fait, l'idée, c'est de partager des expériences, des success stories, des actions concrètes avec des acteurs, des entrepreneurs, des entreprises qui ont déjà eu cette expérience et qui pourraient la partager avec un plus grand nombre, peut-être pour dupliquer ces expériences-là. En tout cas, ce sont des retours. Et pour ce premier Challenge Lab, nous avons une société emblématique de la mobilité qui s'appelle Uber. Je pense que tout le monde connaît Uber ici, non? Uber, voilà, moi je trouve que c'est une très très belle idée. Et pour en parler, nous allons accueillir Mayya Layt, qui est directrice des opérations en France, et Alexandre Molla, qui est directeur général en Suisse. Uber, c'est 4 millions de chauffeurs dans le monde, 4 millions de personnes, 4 millions de travailleurs indépendants. Ce que Mayya et Alexandre vont nous dire et de quoi ils vont nous parler, c'est justement comment est-ce qu'ils peuvent faire, eux, Uber, pour améliorer la vie, avoir un impact positif sur la vie de ces millions de travailleurs indépendants. Je vous demande d'accueillir Mayya et Alexandre pour ce Challenge Lab.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for welcoming us. I'm honored to speak here with my friend Mayya. I think the first thing I want to say is that, yes, I've been with Uber for close to 6 years now, but actually we're not here to talk about mobility, which is a bit strange and upsetting sometimes, but I think it's another fascinating topic, which is independent worker status and welfare. So Uber was introduced to the world about 10 years ago, not even 10 years ago, at a time where there was no smartphone. That means no internet everywhere. That means no geolocation. And also that means not many platforms such as we know as Uber and other platforms. The idea was very simple. There was a big challenge, which is we have about 2 billion cars on the planet today, and they are highly underutilized, with basically driving only an hour per day, which is less than 5%. So the other idea was very simple: try to develop a platform that allows us to actually enhance the efficiency of the matching between the rider and the driver, and therefore enhance the efficiency of urban mobility. Today, Uber is live in more than 600 cities. We have achieved more than 10 billion rides, but there are obviously a lot more to do. We are investing heavily in new mobility options, such as e-scooters, bikes, also working with rental companies, with mass transit operators, and also working a lot to develop new businesses such as the food delivery business. I think what's super challenging today is that all these drivers are actually independent, or the couriers when it comes to Uber Eats. They are independent because they decide when they want to connect and drive. They decide if they want to connect and drive. They decide actually where they actually want to drive and work and actually make a living. There is absolutely no exclusivity clause, and which is what makes them totally independent. In fact, they are our first customers. We have to do everything we can to attract as many drivers or couriers on our platform and ensure that they use it as much as possible, because obviously there is high competition between the different platforms. Uber without drivers would not be Uber. As Jean Baudin would say, il n'y a de richesse que d'hommes. This is exactly what's happening. Now, the key reason why, if you happen to take an Uber earlier this morning from the airport to Monaco, and there was actually an Uber a couple of minutes away from you, is that there was a subset of drivers that actually decided that this morning around the airport was the best time and best place to actually connect and make a living, based on their understanding of the marketplace supply balance efficiency. And I think this is what shows that the independence of workers is actually at the heart of our model, at the heart of most platform economy models. Now, obviously, over the past decade, as Uber and other platforms developed into what is called today the gig economy or the platform economy, a key question emerged, which was, yes, but what happens to the social benefit, the social welfare of those independent workers? And this is actually an extremely fair question. The reality is that in most countries today, regulation does not really cater for proper social welfare geared toward the independent workers. So the challenge today is to find a solution for those independent workers. And some people think that part of the solution will lie in massive, broad reclassification of drivers as full-time employees. Obviously, it's not possible for the reason I just explained in terms of how the platform models work, but more importantly, it eludes the key data point that most independent workers, in our case the drivers or couriers, actually highly value their independence and their flexibility. Being flexible, being able to work when you want, if you want, and for how long you want is actually extremely valuable to them. So what we believe at Uber is that being independent worker and also benefiting from social benefits, social welfare, is actually not mutually exclusive. In terms of our vision, the way we think about the future of work and actually what drives our operational efforts day to day to drive an impact on the driver's side is actually based on 4 key themes. The first theme is really around access. How do we ensure that we unlock opportunities for most people around here in terms of them being able to make a living and make earnings? How do we ensure that minorities can actually access those opportunities easily? This is actually a key pillar to us and that drives our effort on the ground. The second pillar that is extremely important to us is flexibility. Flexibility is highly valued by the drivers, by the couriers, by independent workers in general in the platform economy. How do we ensure that they actually fully benefit from this offered flexibility by platforms? How do we ensure that they have clear visibility on the earnings they can actually make on the platform? How do we ensure that they fully understand what is their activity, how they should manage it, and how they should best explore it in order to make the most out of this opportunity? This is the second pillar that is extremely important, flexibility. The third pillar that is also extremely important for us and that actually structure our thoughts around future of work and also our action is opportunities. Obviously, those drivers, independent workers across platforms are developing very specific skills. They are developing new skills, they are developing new ideas also sometimes. So how do we ensure that those skills are actually qualified, quantified, measured, they are actually valued, and that actually maybe drivers can use those skills to move on to a different opportunity in their career? And how do we actually provide also the trainings needed for them to actually continue to develop? This is something actually that we do in France with our platform Campus VTC, and I think Mayya will touch on this a bit later on. And the fourth pillar that is extremely important to us is security. Security is about ensuring that when you work, you have a certain level of revenue continuity when you get sick, when you get into an accident. It's also about thinking about your retirement plans. All those things are not that obvious when it comes to independent drivers, and this is actually something that we really want to work on. And this was the goal of the AXA partnership that we launched earlier in March across EU, where Uber actually pays for coverage for the drivers that use our platform in case they get sick or get injured or get into a car accident. I think to conclude, it's before we move into actual operational items, it's extremely important to us to seize the opportunity we have today as a platform, as a leading platform in this platform economy, to shape the revolution that's actually currently going on the future of work. We need platforms, Uber in particular, we need to recognize, acknowledge that we need to bear some responsibility into how we think about social welfare of independent drivers. And again, we are deeply convinced that being an independent worker and benefiting from social benefits is actually not mutually exclusive. I'll leave the stage now to my friend Mayya, who's going to deep dive on very select operational initiatives.
Thank you very much, Alex. I'll just take this from you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here with you today. Very happy to share about some exciting, concrete local initiatives we're putting in place, in France in particular, so today is going to focus on that market. Before I get into the details, I just want to take a step back and share with you some numbers. So in France, there's over 28,000 drivers that use the Uber platform. And we did a survey to better understand their profile of the people that sign up and create an Uber account to become a driver. And I think there are two numbers that were very compelling to me that I want to share with you today. The first number is that about 1/3 of the people who answered that survey told us that at the time they answered, they were unemployed. Right? We run that survey across several thousands of people. 1/3 of them told us they are unemployed at that time. Then 60% of them told us also that they don't have higher education. The highest degree they have is the equivalent of a high school diploma or less, so the baccalaureate or less, 60%. So I think what this means, one, obviously, is that people come to Uber really seeking economic opportunities in a very concrete manner. It's opportunities to be started or maybe restarted professionally, but we genuinely think it's opportunities that it's also to build skills and learn on the job. Because we know that a lot of drivers maybe don't have the higher education, but they have a lot of very strong competencies. And we know that at Uber because basically we have data that shows that to us. So the question for us was really, how do we empower people with this? I'll just give you a very concrete example to explain what I'm thinking. Basically, if you take a driver that has a rating of 4.9 out of 5, right? And has completed over 6,000 trips on the Uber platform, what this data says to us at Uber is that this person is a rock star, essentially. This person is delivering consistently high-quality service to his clients. This person is able to manage stress of being all day in a car, long hours, in traffic, in a way that he's still delivering great service to his clients. In France, he probably needs to set up, he actually needs to set up a business to be able to do this independently. So it means that this person is probably also a very sound business manager, right? Because looking at his tenure. So a lot of very valuable competencies. And for us, the question is, how do these metrics translate for that person? How do we share that back? How do we help people train also to get to that level? So in an economy where there are many challenges around employment, where essentially the digitalization is really pushing our industries to rethink how what we think about having a job and what it means to have a job, valuing competencies is really essential, and lifelong learning is very critical. So to sort of execute on that vision that we have, we created a platform called Campus VTC, which is what Alex just mentioned before. So Campus VTC is a platform dedicated to helping drivers throughout their journey on the Uber platform via training. So it could be before they become a driver, when they are a driver, or even after, if they want to move on from being a PHV driver to something else. We started that about over a year ago now in France, Campus VTC. We first focused on providing what we think is the highest quality and most affordable training solutions for people to become drivers, because in France they need to take licensing exams, so we wanted to make sure that they had the solutions to be successful in that process. So far, we helped over 7,000 people. It's an investment as Uber that we made of more than 2.5 million euros. But we wanted to do more than that. We thought, okay, we want to do more and support them also in their long-term opportunities. And we had 3 pillars in mind, really, to do that. One is we want to help people understand what their skills are and be able to assess them. That's the first thing. Because people don't always know what their competencies are. They might not realize that the activity they're performing is actually, relies on very valuable competencies. And we also want to be able to use the data that we have at Uber, because we're all about data, to help people in that assessment. The second thing is we want to create an environment that supports lifelong learning, that supports training, and basically empowers people to seize these opportunities for themselves, whatever they might be. It could be that someone wants to do his job as an independent driver better, but it could be that he wants to train to do something else. So we started building partnerships with educational content providers to do that and to provide these solutions to drivers. And the last thing for us is to be able to create bridges, towards other industries, to create bridges that will basically help build some recognition around these competencies of the drivers and make sure that it actually acts as a social mobility agent. It could be, to give you an example, towards financial institutions, that through this people will have easier access to credit facilities to finance their entrepreneurial projects. It could be towards industries that value the kind of competencies that are the ones that a PHV driver has. So to embark on that project, we started working on a pilot project for a web application. We started working on this with ADECO. It was very important for us to engage in this project with the right partners. The reason is we needed to inject a lot of expertise around competencies, training, competency frameworks, assessments, and so on. So we're happy we started doing this with ADECO Group. And we also, of course, worked with drivers on that because it's something we're developing for them, so we have to develop it with them, obviously. So I'm really, really happy to share this with you today at day one because this is not launched yet. It's a pilot project we're working on in France that will be launched in a few weeks from now, so really excited to share this with you. Basically, this web application, what it does is someone who's an active driver on Uber can log on with his account, with his active driver account, to this web app. So he has access to some of his credentials. He can then take a competency assessment. So he can evaluate himself on a set of competencies. He can also have access to a lot of training content through that web app that is relevant to the type of competencies we've been discussing. So to give you an example, some of our partners today include Open Classroom, which is a highly recognized MOOC in France. So drivers can have access for free to certifying training courses. We also have as a partner Babel, which is a language learning app, and we're very excited actually to scale this partnership with Uber beyond France. We launched this a few months ago, and it's really doing well, so we want to scale it outside France. And then what people can do through that web app too is, at the end, download a competency-based CV where they have a consolidation of all their competencies, the Uber assessment also on some of their competencies. They can add their personal information, and basically they can use that for whatever makes sense for them and for whatever their project is. Right now we are finalizing this web app. We'll be soft launching in a few weeks and iterating on that basis with drivers because it's super important for us to make sure that this product is valuable to them. So to wrap this up, really, I think you have here a very concrete local initiative we're working on that we think can set the foundation for more focus on competencies, on building, helping people build valuable and transferable skills, and helping independent workers have access to the same opportunities through training as I would say, regular company employees. Thank you very much.
you.